Hello, my name is Professor Dr. Ger Graus, OBE. I'm a global education advisor to all sorts of organisations, companies, governments, and I am very happy to be a friend of the Children's Media Conference. I'm here today with SuperKind. SuperKind is a company, an organisation that champions young people to explore their own creativity and innovation. Today I'm talking to Karen, Amy and Ella, and they will tell us all about SuperKind and much more. Karen, to start with you, can you introduce yourself and tell us about SuperKind?
Hi, thank you so much. SuperKind is a social action and charity platform for young people. It exists to educate, inspire and empower young children to make a difference in the world around them. We have incredible inspirational content from other young change makers such as Amy and Ella Meek. And then we have toolkits and a fundraising platform to empower children to make change that they want to see right now. So we guide them through every step of the process so that they can make a real difference to the world, not in the future, but right now.
That's amazing. Thanks so much, Karen. Amy and Ella, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. So we're Amy and Ella, we are sisters and we are the co-founders of a charity called Kids Against Plastic, which, as you mentioned, we started at the ages of 12 and 10 years old. So quite a few years ago now. I'm 19 and Ella's 17. So we've been really lucky to be able to campaign behind an issue that we care so much about for so long. And our charity is really focused around not only tackling plastic pollution, but really empowering young people to be the change makers around this issue.
Yeah, we always like to encourage taking small steps because it's really the most inclusive way of getting everyone involved in issues that they care about, because not everyone has enough time to run their own charity or run their own organisation, but still want to get involved in any way they can. So that's why we always promote making those small changes, because activism is something that you can apply to your own life. It's not something that you have to change your life completely to take part in.
Karen, how can young people get involved with positive change through SuperKind?
Well, the amazing thing is, just like Amy and Ella said, children can get involved at any age. They have an incredible range of talents and they can bring so much to any problems that they care about. So we guide children the whole way through each step so that it's really easy for them to be change makers and kind of start that journey.
So what difference does SuperKind make?
Well, I don't want to overspeak to SuperKind itself, but social action as a whole, I think makes an enormous difference, both to the children and young people who are taking part in it and learning skills like empathy and tolerance and leadership and agency, and to the communities and the world causes that they're supporting. But I think most important is the fact that we are creating the next generation of change makers, and there's a beautiful circularity to it. And when my children learned about Amy and Ella, they said, I want to do that. I want to pick up litter. I want to start my own charity. And so often young people feel powerless, but they're not. And so if we can show them that no matter what their background and no matter what kind of skills and passions they have, they can make a real difference even now, we've seen that that anxiety fades away and children feel empowered. And that's really important with some of the kind of biggest issues that the world's facing.
New approaches also need new measures, and that's part of the hard bit, isn't it? Because sometimes we fall back into, we try new things and we measure the old way. How is the media, Karen, helping you to give people a voice?
Well, I think it could be enormous. I think that the values that social action and change making embodies are so important that it's the sort of things we should be trumpeting. And in my opinion, people like Amy and Ella should be on the front pages of the newspapers. And we see it more and more, I think, definitely during COVID and post-COVID, that there's a move towards good news and good news movements on Instagram and things like that, you know, really trumpeting the great stories that heroes are doing every single day. So the more we can talk about that stuff, the more we can inspire people and create a cycle of positivity, which is so important.
I agree entirely. Social media, Amy and Ella, has a particular part to play, perhaps. What are your views on that?
Yeah, definitely. Social media has been a huge help, especially during the times where we were all in lockdown in COVID years. Social media really transformed all of the work that we and many other activists were doing. So we got the chance to meet other young people that were making a massive difference online, and it might be something that we've never even thought of doing before because it's just something that seemed closed off in our minds. And it's also when we started doing our meetings with the young people. So social media really helped us transform our work in a very tricky time, but managed to keep on going. So it was very useful in that respect.
What can the wider Children's Media Conference learn from what you're doing?
I think that young change makers are inspirational and engaging and exciting for other young children. My children love watching this kind of content. We go on YouTube, we watch the videos of Amy and Ella and so many other young change makers. But then when we turn on the TV, it's Peppa Pig and, kind of similar stuff. So I think there's a great opportunity to start bringing this kind of content into the mainstream, and children absolutely love it.
I think the biggest message we'd give, especially around reaching young people around some of these issues, is I think sometimes it's almost perceived that things like climate change, plastic pollution, so many of these big issues are almost out of the grasp of young children or young people, and that they're things that we shouldn't be talking to them about because they're too big or they're too scary. And I really think taking the narrative and switching it into one that's actually showing young people about these issues that they are finding out about, showing them the real facts in a way that's understandable and accessible to them, but then really motivating and empowering them to see the ways that they can get involved in their own life, whether it is just through changes at home or school, or whether it's through making a bigger difference as a bit of a change maker more broadly.
I'd also build off that and say that young people aren't only finding out about these issues, but they also have something really valuable to say. So often kids like to hear from other young people because it's a lot more relatable and also inspirational. I mean, our whole charity, we were only really inspired to start it ourselves because we'd seen another group of kids who had done something similar and actually achieved a lot with their own campaign. So I'd say with people finding out about these environmental issues, they also have a whole new perspective on these that really need to be shared. So I think giving that opportunity and that platform to young people to also speak out and share their own messages and their own views is also really, really important.
Thank you. And I think the other thing is, it always seems to come as a surprise to people that children grow into young people and young people grow into adults, and that they will carry their beliefs with them. So perhaps they should be less surprised after listening to you. Thank you so much.